Will Trump be unchained if he wins the election next November? Google and Facebook and Amazon, could they threaten the big four banks? And another bank bites the dust. Nabbed. I'm Peter Switzer.
I'm Paul Rickard.
And we're
mad about money.
Well, the big story today, Paul, is that if Donald Trump wins the election next November, he will be unchained. What will he do?
Don't you like that expression?
Love it.
An unchained Donald Trump.
That's right.
Well, the story in CNBC, Peter, there's a few people pointing their mind to what happens post-November 2020.
Yeah.
Trump has 4 years more to go, and
what
sort of things could he do? So the talk about really taking on the World Trade Organization and the US getting even more aggressive on trade, really making China and others pay. Particularly the Europeans, I think there's this deep feeling in the Trump camp that the Europeans have really been unfair with the US over many years. I think Airbus is the one they talk about, but there's more behind it than just the how Airbus has been subsidised, and Boeing, poor old Boeing, had to do it tough, you know. So there's a bit of that.
They made their own life pretty hard.
They've made their own life, and then there's a whole lot of course around about more tax cuts, repeating the same sort of success he's had, inverted commas I should say, in the last 3 years. And possibly poor old Jerome Powell may not survive.
He'll lose his job.
Reappointment in 2022. So that's Trump unchained. But I guess he's shown he can do a whole lot of things. And, I guess that's a warning sign for all of us, Peter, I think.
Okay, I've got to say, when Trump came on the scene, I thought this guy is MAD, and I haven't changed my mind. But somehow, what this madman has done has taken on stuff that the world ignored for a long time, like China's unfair behaviour in trade. Now, ever since I've been a university student, I know the EU has always been unfair. They've protected the French farmer, and therefore costs have gone up as a consequence. Yep. They slugged tariffs on other people, trying to threaten their little French eating and drinking area. And in many ways...
In the name of culture.
Culture, yeah. Culture. What's the French word for culture? Anyway, whatever it might be, this madman has actually done some things that people think nowadays, well, that should have been done. And maybe you needed a madman to do it.
He's certainly taken them on, Peter. I'm not sure there's that much success yet, but he's certainly changed the debate.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess one thing you've always got to remember about the American political system, it was designed with so many... but it was designed with so many checks and balances.
Yeah.
There's no other system in the world where there are as many checks and balances as there are in the American system. We all think the American president is very powerful. They're really not that powerful in most things. They've got they can press the button and that can cause a few problems.
And they can do tariffs.
And they can do tariffs, but they can't get away with it forever. And the system with both the two houses of parliament and all the different legislative controls they have, Trump can make a lot of noise, cause a lot of short-term pain. Ultimately, can he do a lot? I still think that it's probably fairly measured of what he can achieve. But he can change the debate and the narrative, and that's what's important.
And you're a political junkie, Paul. Is he going to win the election, do you reckon?
Well, I can't see if all Democrats are as divided as they have and have such crazy and unelectable candidates. I think he's going to win. Yeah. I mean, if the Democrats can find somebody that can unite them and can be a little bit more inspiring, then maybe there's a chance. Yeah. But at the moment, Trump looks, I think, home and hose for 2020.
Yeah, okay, unchained as well. Google,
Trump unchained.
Google, Facebook, Amazon, could they really threaten the security and the success of our big four banks?
Look, I find these stories interesting, Peter, because they come out all the time, because people naturally translate that when you've been as successful as a Google or a Facebook, what industry or what vertical are they going to get into next? And sure, there are opportunities in the financial space, and they've already made those sort of moves. I mean, things like Apple Pay and iTunes and all those things that Apple's been doing, and Facebook with its stuff and the work in cryptocurrencies, and these aren't new. They've been around for many, many years. I'm not too worried, and I don't think you should be worried. I think the other thing that's we can't forget is that at some stage the US regulators are going to look at breaking these companies up because they're too powerful, right? The antitrust provisions in the US are really big, so I'm less worried about this. I think they want to get into everything and eat everyone's lunch, so we shouldn't be surprised.
And Paul, the reality is, most of us hate the banks, but we don't leave them, we don't run away from them easily, do we? Like even the regional banks have struggled to take market share off the big banks. So in many ways, even though we hate them, we do like their security, and the bigger they are and the more secure they are, the more our money feels safe. And I think it's going to be I don't want my money controlled by Mark Zuckerberg.
Neither do I. I mean, I think people should also start to hate in inverted commas things like Facebook. When you want all your data and everything known by one organisation, you know, the space in the US and doesn't want to pay a lot of it is Big Brother. So I think consumers need to be a little bit mindful of this sort of stuff.
Okay, final subject. We saw Westpac was slugged last week. We don't know what the fine's going to be, and now NAB has been nabbed. Basically for us MLC days, isn't it?
Yeah, this is all to do with the FIFA advice with
FIFA no service.
FIFA no service.
FIFA no service.
Basically relating back to MLC, it goes back for many years. ASIC is sort of finding a bit of muscle and threatening all sorts of fines. Look, and ASIC yesterday laid a charge sheet to take NAB to court over a number of alleged breaches over many years, and we'll see how this plays out. It's not as serious the Austrac type stuff. Look, it'll end up in a fine, and I suppose the downside for banks is they've got so many people now just trying to rectify and remedy what's happened in the past. This is not easy stuff. You know what it's like trying to contact a client that you haven't been in contact with some years. You've got to work out what's happened. You've got to get your records out, sometimes going back over a decade. It's really hard actually to know what the right remediation is.
It seems like what you do is you identify who those clients were, and it might
That's
be...
probably the easier part, right?
100,000 clients, and if they've been there for 5 years and you've been under-servicing and overcharging, you rebate them 5 years worth of...
Yeah, but it's hard actually to always work out what that amount is, Peter. I think
most of us accept anything.
Well, but you can't underdo them. If you underdo them, you still haven't done it properly. So it is hard. Look, this is one of these things. This is a legacy of the Royal Commission, and we've got to clear this stuff up. So I think it's sort of factored into the price. I don't get too worried about this sort of stuff because we know it's out there, but it does make good news, and the papers are going to keep beating this stuff up.
Okay. Despite all this, Paul, you like banks for 2020 as an investment
I like banks for 2020. I'd like them to get over all this stuff, get all the remediation done, and really get onto the main job. And
get themselves good and
get
go
themselves good. But I do think banks are going to do a little bit better in 2020. And look, you just got to put the price. A lot of this stuff is fully built into the price, so we shouldn't be surprised this stuff is still out there. The Royal Commission told us was going to happen. We've known about it for 18 months. Let's move on. Okay, well, this is our last Mad About Money for the year. Thanks very much for joining us over the course of the year. We'll be back in January 18, I think it is. January 20, the week starting January 18. My producer / video guy just laughed and said, that was you did that really well, Peter. That was one of your better closing statements for the year. That's right. I'm really mad that you cannot get something pretty simple like that. Say, when are you going to come back to where on date? Anyhow,
He's always mad.
I'm going to be mad about something.
I'm Peter Switzer,
I'm Paul Rickard.
and we're mad about money.